recording. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Neuro Digest show. My name is Sylvia Moramo Chabo, your host, and courtesy of Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons, we normally have conversations surrounding raising neurodiverse children, adults, and how it is living, and educating also the caregivers on some of the ways they can be able to have this journey a bit smoother. And with us, we have Pamela, who's a mother of an 18-year-old child with cerebral palsy. She's going to be sharing her journey with us. And as we wait for Mary to join us, and we have our sign language interpreter, Maita Karaoke. Thank you always for being there for us, Maita. We appreciate you. So for today, we're going to be discussing the journey of raising a child with cerebral palsy. As we all know, this month, on the 6th next week, it's going to be World Cerebral Palsy Day. And in honor and celebration of that, this month of October, we'll be focusing a lot on the stories surrounding cerebral palsy here on Neuro Digest. And to start us off, just so to elaborate, cerebral palsy is a condition that usually affects the brain. The child's brain development is affected either during birth or within the first 5 years of a child's life. And there are very many different causes. We've had those who say their child fell ill, something happened during delivery, and that's how their child ended up having CP. And you find that 5 different types of cerebral palsy, depending on which part of your brain gets affected during the child's development. And that's how it varies. So you will find that we have children with cerebral palsy who are verbal, some are non-verbal, some can move, some actually cannot move at all and depend on 24/7 support of the caregivers. And to start us off, we shall start with Pamela. Pamela, how are you? Pamela, can you hear us? I know you're far and introduce
Hi, thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, I'm far. I can hear you.
Okay. Well, where are you joining us from? I love your background. It's very green.
I am in Kisumu County.
Okay.
Nyakach sub-county.
Karibu sana. Now tell us, you have a child who's 18 years old, and I must commend you for that. I know how hard and how challenging that can be, right? Especially, I don't know, have you always been in Kisumu County, or have you been in Nairobi and then you moved, or you've been in Kisumu through and through his life?
I've really not stayed in Nairobi, but I used to visit Nairobi many times, those early years of my son's life. Mm-hmm. I used to visit Kenyatta National Hospital, just to find out what this was. Mm-hmm. But I've stayed most of my times for the last 20 years. I've been staying in Migori, currently in Nyakach, when the COVID started.
Okay. And how did you find out that your child had cerebral palsy? How was it for you?
Yeah, I went to hospital because it started one time when the boy was 6 months is when I realized. Mm-hmm. 6 months of age. Mm-hmm. But initially I felt there was an injection which I was given, the immunizations. Mm-hmm. I felt this was the cause of my son's problem because it was after that injection, mm-hmm. the second one, these days I've forgotten, the one which used to be given on the thigh. Mm-hmm. Then my son's thigh was swollen, and after some time the doctor had told me to use something called ice to be massaging it, and then it went off. So after that my son never stood like the young children stood when you let them stand on the thighs. So I started running up and down, and he started having seizure attacks. Okay. So I went to hospital and they could not tell me. They told me to look for a ped. I went to a pediatrician in Kisii, and the pediatrician said he doesn't see anything serious, but said the boy had scanty MPS, malaria parasite cells were seen in the blood, and I was given the treatment as usual. But that, the twitches and the seizures continued, and losing it there. When, I think he was getting the twitches, the seizures. When they were about to come, then he would cry really painfully. And so I got this information of CP. The boy was now 8 months. When I traveled to Nairobi to Kenyatta Hospital, neurologist pediatrician. That is how I got the news. It was really shocking, and it gave me a lot of depression. I went into depression. It was shocking. It was really difficult to accept that my once handsome, bouncing son was now just like a luggage there. Okay. So it was really hard, and it has been hard. I want to tell you, it has been hard. And it takes time for somebody to accept. And this issue even breaks up families. I think at some point I almost broke, my marriage almost broke. My husband went into denial while I was also still in denial. And so we could not even get anybody, that emotional support was not there, because I think in his mind, although he never spoke it, he felt maybe he was mistaking me. I was also maybe blaming him. We were in that state of confusion. But after walking and running up and down, you think if somebody tells you, go to this place, you think you would get help. Go to this place, you think you would get help. I could go to the clinics which Dr. Oyazi took me through to book in Kenyatta National Hospital. And before I could come to accept this thing, then again I had other challenges. Kenyatta Hospital was visited once in a month. And I would go to clinics on a Tuesday. I would travel all the way from Migori County at night to reach the hospital by 11 a.m. And then I would be told when I go to the registry that my file is lost. Then when the file is lost, what do? I sit there on the bench in the hospital until all the patients are seen. Then I'm told, you come back next week. And you know, at that time, I've also taken permission from school. And the head teacher would not understand. Being that my family was also staying in Nairobi, my husband was in Nairobi. The head teacher always thought maybe I just went for a visit and not to the hospital. So it was a real challenge. So sometimes when the file got lost, I would just look for Dr. Yazi in his private clinic to attend to my son, to give me the drugs to use and such like things. So it has been a really difficult time. And so it took me a long time to come to accept this and to accept my son the way he is. And I loved him more. And the family members, especially my children. Donnie is the 5th child in the family, but he's now the 3rd one alive. The other 2 had rested. So my son and daughter, the older ones, they really supported me emotionally. My mother used to visit me every time, and the only thing she could tell me, my daughter, God knows why you are in this. And I had 2 wonderful lady friends. They used to support me emotionally. They have remained my good friends to date. Distance is not a problem to us. I can still visit them. One is in Migori County at the moment. One is in Homa Bay County at the moment. And whenever I feel like, I go to visit them. Whenever they feel like, they come to visit me where I am now. But I must tell you, it was not easy. So I think I accepted this condition when my son was now about 1.5 years. when now Dr. Yasi talked to me slowly by slowly and advised me on having a therapist, an occupational therapist, where I was. So I got this occupational therapist who used to work in Kisii District Hospital. His name is Stanley Omach, and Omach could talk to me. Sometimes I felt he was too hard on me, but he told me, Mama, this is something you are going to live with. It is now like a fault in electricity, whereby the transformer has blown off, but we are trying now to check on which wire can work so that we could even have the currents in one line. Maybe we could light some 2 or 1 rooms in the house, and that is how life will continue. Omach prepared me that if I didn't take it seriously and become committed, then it would really be hard for the boy to gain. And he told me that he would be coming for occupational therapy exercises in the house, because whenever I traveled with this boy to hospital, I would reach there and he would be crying, and then I was told, Mama, go back with the boy, umulete siku ingine when he's not in this state. So it was really hard, my friends, but the grace of God is sufficient. I would jump a bit because maybe of time. I don't know if I have much time.
You have.
I want to say.
Yes, you can continue.
Hello?
Yes, you can continue. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so, okay. So I've gone with this boy this way, and I started the therapy exercises. He used to give me home programs. He used to come home 3 times in a week, and we worked well. And some issues also came up, like he would suffer from some illnesses which I don't understand. And this now made me, at one point, I had to take the boy to stay in Nairobi for about 11 months when he was visiting Gertrude's Children's Hospital, to establish why he used to have some rashes just behind the ears, along the lips. He could have those rashes. He would go to sleep when he's fine, and then he would wake up with those issues. So after a long visit to Dr. Mianji in Gertrude's Hospital, we realized that this boy is kind of allergic to certain things. So I was advised that he should not take red meat. We should avoid dairy products, such like. And that is also when I learned my son is also autistic. I stopped using those, and I followed the doctor's advice. And so his life started becoming well. But I've passed one point. When at 3 years, I became pregnant. I think at that point, my husband tried to make a comeback, but I was also now following him to tell him that it is normal, this is our problem, we should share. Then I got pregnant with my last born daughter. You know what happened? I wanted to abort because I felt, how do I continue with this? Where do I get the strength to carry Doni with me wherever I was going, anywhere, because I was ever alone? But the doctor refused, and he told me, this is the person who will help you. Let this pregnancy stay. So long as you know you never went outside your house. If this child belongs to your husband, then I want us to take care of it. Whether ni mvulana ama ni msichana, we want to take care. So the doctor helped me through, and Kara was born, and she has really been helpful to me. Let me tell you, Kara is the maid I've had, because others come and go. So she has been helpful to me. She's a very bright child, and whenever we go to hospital together, she will ask the doctor, now, why is my brother like this? Or why can't you treat him? And so she's saying she will be a neurosurgeon because of his brother.
Wow.
Another challenge, another big one, my boy is now a teenager.
Yes.
And as I can see, he's sexually active. This is a big challenge that I have. I can see Donny playing with his genitals until he releases himself. Because he only expresses himself with that noise. So we have learned to know when he wants to go for a call. I even took him to school because I thought now we knew a bit his language. Last year in June, his case was in the media. He got badly injured and the school never noticed.
Yes.
I removed some score from the school on this issue because I felt they were a bit careless. They did not take him to hospital early enough to find out the problem. So when I reached, the boy was in bad shape, but we later realized that he had a broken jaw. So he was wired for 2.5 months. And I think 2.5 months after spending 20 days in the hospital, I again went back to food which is blended, and it was really hard. So the biggest challenge I'm seeing ahead of me, this is a man now. Then I don't know what to do. He cannot still walk alone, but we are trying. The sister takes him round. These days he doesn't go with a walker, but can hold the sister. I'll send some pictures in due course. He can walk with the sister holding her shoulders or the hand. Again, I'm wondering whether you will get somebody to marry him or
yes,
I don't know what will happen, but it is a real challenge.
Yes, I can only imagine raising boys, and then it gets to this point, and you've done it for 18 years, and that is quite that's quite a story and encouraging to those who are wondering. Because I'm actually impressed that he's now walking, holding his sister. Because the last year when we were pursuing the case about the school and his fall, he was on a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
So that's
He was on a wheelchair.
Yeah, and that's quite impressive, the progress he has made. And that shows just how committed you have been and how supportive, because as a single parent, did the dad ever come back after? Or that's that story?
Yeah, he came back.
Okay.
He came back, but I must tell you, he doesn't know anything to do with the boy. You see, now the boy is somebody who has even hair on the pubic parts. But dad doesn't even know how to shave that. So I and my daughter, we have learned to shave him. Whenever the hair is grown, we try to shave him. Of course, he resists, but we sometimes have to hold him. Another person is holding him tightly, and we even talk to him because he can hear. I know he can hear, but he can this hair. Please give us time. But we do it with a lot of resistance from him. I think he feels maybe he also has the feeling that he's grown and now what are we doing? But I'm glad we are doing everything for him. The dad doesn't know anything, and he would even complain when he comes around once in a while. He would ask you why the boy is making noise and why you cannot serve his interest. But I always don't answer. My daughter Kara will tell him, but dad, you didn't even talk to him. You didn't even greet him. What do you think of him? He definitely feels bad. Oh, he's there, but I'm telling you, you would ask him anything about Donny today. He knows very little. He would not tell you.
Okay. But that's usually one of the greatest challenges, that when you have a special child, you find it becomes the work of the mother to actually take care of this baby, and all the work is left. So sometimes yes, the guys can stay, but then all the work still remains. It's the mother who's supposed to be doing this. And we really, really applaud you for being there, because 18 years of raising a special child is not a joke. And from what you just said, I believe that you mentioned that he is nonverbal, right? That means he's not able to speak. and as yet he's not talking.
Yeah.
So but he can understand some of the things that you normally have a discussion on, right?
Yeah, we talked to him. Like recently, I told him, you must hold my hand in order to eat.
Okay.
So when I take the food like this, because whenever you try to put food in his hands, then he would shake. He would shake like that, like he's removing. But then I told him, you hold my hands if you want to eat. So I would take the food, keep it there like this, and then he will pull my hand to his mouth. And we were so happy when that happens. Yeah. And we have continued doing that with the hope that he would one day just pick the food alone.
No, slowly but surely, I'm sure you're going to get there. And thank you very much for being very honest and open. I can see Betty is with us. We had our other speaker, 1 second. Welcome, Betty, and welcome, Lucy. I'm trying to find where Mary is. Mary, are you still with us? Hello. I had seen Mary, our other caregiver, online, but I think we've lost her or something of the sort. So yes, Pamela, just tell me, how are the service provision now that you've had to be traveling all the way from Kakamega to Nairobi to get services? And I know it's not easy, because especially if you don't have a wheelchair and you have to use public service and you have had to carry him all through, how are people treating you when you can see this is a big boy and he's still being carried by the mother? How was the response with the public?
As my other friend used to say sometimes back, that if you are a mother of a special child, you are like a television. People look at you. Some of them are sorry. Some of them look, it was not easy. And my son, my eldest son is my best friend. He told me when he was joining university, when Donnie's case started, he told me, Mama, pray for me. The first thing I will do will be to buy a vehicle so that you don't travel with this boy in public. And when he graduated, he did exactly that. He used to collect us. Every time I would want to go to hospital, he would drive all the way from Nairobi to pick us from me.
Wow. So you see, God always makes a way, yeah?
Now sit in.
Sorry?
Then I just pay. Hello?
Sorry, I had lost.
I just pay for his seat. Oh yeah, I'm saying traveling was a challenge before. The days I used to visit Nairobi frequently. But my man, after graduation, the first he did when he had some job was to get a car. So he used to collect us. But later on, he was now able to sit in a bus, and I would just pray, God, please give me the grace to travel with him. So we would get into the bus and he would go to sleep until God's grace. But these days we don't travel as much. And whenever we get into the vehicle, he becomes excited. He becomes so excited. And now the vehicle should keep moving. In case the vehicle makes a stopover, then you will hear him complaining. So that is how it has been. But it has really been hard. It takes the hand of God.
Wow, that's the story of resilience. And I'm sure when you look at him now, with the growth progress, and now that he can even understand his environment and how things are, I'm sure you're a very proud mother, right? Like, it brings you so much joy when you see that he's able to respond, he's able to see through the journey, and as far as you go, and he's always there. And that's an awesome story right there. Thank you very much, Pamela. I can see Patricia is here with us. Patricia, karibu sana. Would like to...
Thank you.
Hi, Patricia. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. We were just listening to Pamela's story of how she has raised her 18-year-old son, and it's been 18 years of progress, of tears and joy, and we always give thanks to God because our special children are just that, just very, very special. And as always, no story is the same. So kindly, Pat, introduce yourself and tell us how your journey has been.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm called Patricia Makonjo. I'm a mother to one very handsome boy. He turned 2 a month ago, and he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Basically, I'm the one who diagnosed him. Then I looked for affirmation that it's actually cerebral palsy because at first I was told it's severe asphyxia and meconium aspiration grade 3. That's what I left the hospital knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was assured it's cerebral palsy at the end of the day.
So that is a very long name. What was that? That the doctors had given? What are the signs and symptoms? How was your delivery? How did you conclude? And knowing that you've actually come to be the one who's diagnosing your son, that is quite interesting. So tell us, how was the pregnancy? At what point did you discover something was different? And how has it been for you?
Okay, my pregnancy was very smooth. It was enjoyable. It was normal pregnancy without any complications, and it was just that kind of smooth pregnancy where you could do anything, anytime, and enjoy life normally. Mm-hmm. But now on the delivery day 1, my son was postpartum with 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Post what? They call it postpartum? Postdatism. Sorry, postdatism. Yeah, postdatism.
Post
2 weeks.
Like he stayed too long or he came early?
He stayed too long. Too long.
2 weeks. Okay.
Now on delivery day, I was induced. It was normal. But now at 6, they realized there was meconium at 6 a.m. But it was, at the end of the day, it was negligence because the change of shift changing. Then I delivered. They didn't do anything about it. I understand that there was a strike in one major hospital. The nurses are strike, so they were overwhelmed. So I gave birth at around 4. The baby was tired. He didn't cry. As a mother, I thought it was normal because I didn't experience such a thing. He was taken to the nursery. When he was taken to the nursery is when I realized my son doesn't cry. When you go to breastfeed, my son is not breastfeeding. Others are busy breastfeeding their babies, and he's not crying totally. So he started crying 3 days later. I asked the doctors, what is the problem with my son? I was told, your son is very sick. 17 days later, we were discharged, and it was written on the papers, meconium aspiration, grade 3, asphyxia, I don't know what. So I asked them, you're now discharging us. The baby is not breastfeeding. What is the problem? Mama, your son is very sick, but he's a bit stable. You can go home. You'll come for therapy.
Wait, what did they even explain to you? Let me just interrupt you.
Nobody explained to me. No, nobody explained to me. So I made Google my friend, and that's when I accepted the fact that my son might be having cerebral palsy. Yes.
So what signs and symptoms, now that he wasn't breastfeeding and he went home, did it change that, or how did you go about
it? It never changed. It never changed. I now started doing cup and spoon. 2 weeks later, he started being irritated and stretching and crying. I took him back to hospital. They told me the baby has meningitis.
Okay.
Now they started treating meningitis on assumption. They tried to get the fluid from the back. They could not manage, but they now started treating meningitis on assumption. But remember, Google had already told me there's a possibility of cerebral palsy. Yes, it has been a tough journey, but now at the end of the day, I diagnosed him that way. I met therapists to actually confirm that is the condition of the baby. But if I tell you today, 2 years later, there's no doctor who has ever told me your son has cerebral palsy.
Okay. And how was that for you emotionally? Like, are you married? If I'm allowed to ask, was there support from family and friends? Is he meeting any of the milestones at 2 years? There are things he's supposed to have already managed to do. Is he doing things, or how is it?
Okay, one, I'm married, but I want to thank God for my husband. He accepted the fact that has happened.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you know, families and friends, they told me, oh, let's take baby for prayers. We went. Oh, let's take baby to, I don't know, at those local therapists, those ones in the village, who do very thorough, weird therapy sessions.
Okay.
I tried that, and we went for prayers from here to one prayer to another prayer person, to which prayer person, I don't know where. And finally, I was being told, let's see which doctor, and I said no. At the end of the day, I know what baby is going through. I lost friends, by the way. I remained with my husband as my best friend. It's a tough journey.
It is always tough. And people, whatever they don't understand, they usually tend to stay away from. And that's just the normal humans, how they are. Like, if this is something wrong and they're seeing it takes a toll on you, you know. And it's something very funny, because some of these things, it's not a contagious disease that if you're my friend, that means you're going to get it, or your child is going to get it. It's just an issue that is about development, and it's not transferable or communicable. And that's one thing we need to understand. And and I am very glad that your husband has stood by your side, because a good number of them either just leave, or some of them are there but they're not there. They'll be there for every other child, but this one, I don't want to know. You know, someone just there is a parent I once met who said that he doesn't even know what medical. All he says is, how much do you need? You deal with it. You know, that is for you to deal. So most of the time you find that it's the mother carrying the entire journey of raising this child. The fathers are either financiers, and we would like for them to be actually hands-on and try and understand, because it makes it easier. In case anything happens, of course the child will remain with them. So what has been your greatest highlight? Has he met any milestones that you'd like to share with us?
Not really. He only smiles.
He smiles, but that smile says a lot, you know. That means
so much.
I'm sure, and I can tell from your facial expression that is something that you treasure, and it brings joy to you, because there are those who are not emotional, especially in the neurodiverse community. The children, not most of them actually don't show emotions. You can call them, they just look at you, they don't respond, they don't look at you in the eye. So for a child to just smile, that means at least their muscles are working well, and it is quite something, and we appreciate that. So now, is he on any medication? Does he suffer from convulsions and all that? Because we have those comorbid conditions that come along with cerebral palsy.
Yes, currently we are on Rivotril, and he was just weaned off Epilim.
Okay.
Yes.
So at least that means he's making good progress. He was using them both, now he's using one.
He's only on one, yes.
And with the issues that we've been having about Rivotril being inaccessible, tell us, how's that been for you?
Okay, we just switched to clonazepam, which is it's a bit available. Availability, it's okay. Getting it's not as tricky as Rivotril.
And did you have that on your own?
And the prices are just weird. But you're managing, yes.
Yeah, because I can imagine Rivotril was a bit manageable, because it was like 3 shillings. But then right now, that is like 600 bob a bottle for a month. And now we're being sold for around 3,600. So it's a bit crazy with the COVID times, the things we are going through, especially needs parents and for our children. And it's something that, it's not luxury, right? Like, if we do not give our children this medication, chances of them regressing, and because, you know, when you get a convulsion, normally you find that the brain activity activities are interrupted with, and very many other things. And just let me just bring that up at least so that we can explain to guys what we're talking about. So you find cerebral palsy is a disorder which brings abnormalities and damage in the baby's brain during infancy or early childhood, permanently affecting the body movement, muscle conditions. And as the word says, cerebral refers to the brain and palsy refers to the physical disorders. And that's the name in Swahili. It's Kutundio wa Ubongo, Kukuza Ubongo. And October 6th is the World Cerebral Palsy Day. And the month where we actually raise awareness is in March, and the color ribbon for cerebral palsy is green. On the other side, what we're discussing now, that is the seizures. So you will find that, what is a seizure actually? Okay, 1 second, I just bring that back on so that we can at least explain. So that when we're talking about all convulsions and seizures, so a seizure is a disruption in the electrical pulse patterns of the brain. That which caused by brain cells moving simultaneously at a faster rate than normal. So normally there is a way that you normally function. Remember, Pamela mentioned about transformer blowing and trying to reconnect. So that's what we're talking about. So that's what the seizure disorder is. Epilepsy, on the other side, is a disorder defined by recurrent and provoked seizures. Most of the time when people are having seizures, you will find they'll have an aura, like they will feel a certain way, smell something, or and get a feeling when they grow and get to understand, and they know, oh yes, it's coming, and they either keep themselves safe. But you see, for us with the neurodiverse children, either cerebral palsy, autism, and the likes, you find it's something that not everyone will be able to identify, and not everyone gets the aura. So the one thing that's usually very dangerous is if it finds, let's say, a child when they're out playing or walking, and then they fall down. So if they hit their head, that it is a riskier. So yeah, at least today you have been schooled. That is our lesson for today. Back to you, Patricia. A lovely photo there. You're still there?
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, good. Now, tell us now, when you, I'm still stuck on the signs and symptoms. Apart from breastfeeding, what else was going on? Like, what else did you see? Because I'm looking at, this is an infant, yeah? What provoked you to actually conclude about cerebral palsy, apart from the convulsions and the other issue you mentioned, plus the long diagnosis the doctors gave you? What made you think, apart from Dr. Google, what did you see that you were correlating with what Google told you for you to come up with that conclusion that it was actually cerebral palsy?
Okay, there was also crying, irritability, too much irritability, and then there's a way he was sweating, too much of sweating and stretching, like he was stretching or something of the sort. There's something he was doing which is not a convulsion. I don't know how they call it though.
Involuntary muscle movement.
Yes, the muscles. He could stiffening. Let me use the word stiffen. He could stiffen his hands and the legs and cry the whole night, be asleep. He was literally a sleepless baby. Yes.
Well, but don't you think it's advisable that you get at least a doctor to diagnose so that you have the right diagnosis apart from the one you have personally done?
Pardon?
I'm saying, don't you think it will be wise for you to go for a doctor's opinion so that at least you have that conclusive diagnosis from them, apart from what you have personally concluded that this is cerebral palsy? And it's always good when a professional gives you another light, because maybe it could be something else. Okay, we are giving it the benefit of doubt that he's 2 years, maybe it could be too early, because I'm trying to see, looking at the milestone. So is he walking yet? No.
Okay. There's a time. He had infantile spasms.
Yes.
And he was put on some steroids.
Okay.
To manage the spasms. Remember, at this time nobody had also told me he's having cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So I met, I went to Gertrude's. I was referred to a neurologist who told me the baby has infantile spasm. But I'm not being told the underlying issue,
no,
why
it's
he's
not
having the infantile.
the main issue. And I think that's one of the issues with our local doctors. Like, give it to me straight. I am the parent. If you give it to me straight,
I want to fix it.
Yes, then that's why I'll know what to do, I'll know where to go, but then you're just giving it to me in doses instead of just serving it straight. Tell me, this is cerebral palsy, this is what you should be expecting, this is what you should, you should be doing. Because you can imagine if you started therapy as early as that was put out to you, early intervention is one of the things that we are fighting towards. That we need our doctors to just be straight. If it's the nurse, you're seeing my child is supposed to be sitting, it's not sitting, let's mark that and make it a red flag. Don't tell us that every child is different or boys are slower and stuff like that. Let's be real, because people are suffering, and our children, I believe, can live a better life when this is accepted. The moment in which now our doctors and the medical fraternity is open. Yes, just be human. I know it's difficult. Sometimes they feel like they don't want to be the bearers of bad news, but still, at the end of the day, you're helping me a great load when you tell me this is what we're suspecting, let's watch. But for now, this is what is going on. Or what do you think, Patricia? How was your side? Don't you think that would have been
I think it's high time we battled that. That's the only issue that I think is lacking. A parent should be prepared from the word.
Is it me, or have we lost you, Patricia? Hello, Patricia. I think I lost you. Can't hear her. It's frozen. It's frozen. Pamela, are you there? I think we lost Patricia. Pamela? Hello? I think we're having technical challenges on her side, but yes. Huh? Pamela? Are you still there?
You're back on Facebook. You're on the screen.
Maureen, can you hear me? Tell me if you can hear me so I know it's not my side.
I see Pamela, I see my part.
Okay, so okay. Pamela, you're there? Okay, good. Thank you. And at least my sign language has confirmed that it's not on our side. So we have lost Patricia, but Pamela is still here with us. Pamela, just let me know, how did the doctor break it? For you, you had an easier way when they actually broke it down to you that the child had cerebral palsy. I will remind us, how old was he at the time when you were being given the diagnosis? Pamela? Your audio is not working. Oh, bummer. Patricia, you're back. Good. We're having issues from Kakamega on audio, so as Pamela is trying to sort that out. Patricia, you were saying something.
I was saying,
yes,
it will be better if a parent was told from the word go what to expect from their child. A diagnosis to be given from the word go.
That's true.
It's unfortunate if even when you've been told that the child already has cerebral palsy, that you will visit another doctor who will not accept that condition on your child. Will tell you, mtoto hakai cerebral palsy. So I don't know how cerebral palsy inakaa.
No, but you see, it's because they're different. What most don't understand, there are different types of cerebral palsy. There are 5 of them, depending on which part of the brain has been affected. I was trying to just find that on damaged, explain it to our audience so that they get to understand it. But then there are 5 types. So depending on which part of your brain of the child has been affected, that's how you know. Because there are those ones who have just minimal movement affected and they can communicate. There are those who cannot do anything at all. Like they can't sit, they can't do anything. Then we have the ones who at least can sit, can make sound. Then there are those who cannot make sound at all, you know. And there are those who can actually even feed themselves, that have some movement in their muscles, and there are those who are totally stiff out and cannot do anything. So that's some of the things that I think in the either the medical fraternity, they should be taught some of these things so that they know in advance. When your child did not cry, didn't they feel like something was amiss at the point? Because you mentioned when after delivery the baby did not cry. Patricia. Pat? Can you hear me, Patricia? That was to you.
Yes, I can hear you. Please repeat.
I'm saying, when your baby did not cry, weren't the doctors worried?
Okay, the consultant, there was a main doctor who is a consultant who would come in the morning. She is the one who showed some concern and there's something she fumbled that I overheard, and that's when I realized there was a big problem. Yes.
Okay. Well, I've had many stories about how CP comes, and I know there is a lot of the meningitis, there is a lot of delivery. I've had something about even a line being pulled out of a child, and it just flipped everything in the child's development. Pamela, can you hear us? Pamela?
Yes.
Yes, I was asking.
Yeah, I can now hear you. I lost you. My phone went off power.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. I was asking you, at what point did you get the diagnosis? Just remind us for baby C. Immediately, how was his development? The first few months and years of his development. What did you notice first that was not as per his other siblings?
Yeah, when he started having the seizure attacks, then I got worried, and they were mild. And then he could not feed well. He could not breastfeed. He would only maybe either hold tight on the nipple, and the milk is just pouring out, or he would just, you put the nipple in his mouth and he would just, like, it is just there. So I realized there was a serious problem at that time.
So at least that's one similarity we have noticed about the muscles and breastfeeding. So when a child is not breastfeeding, that's one of the many key indicators that something is not right. And how about movements? Before the convulsion started, how was his movement like in development? Was he responsive emotionally when you conversed with him when he was an infant? Was he responsive when
Come again, please.
When he was a child, like, and then you know the way babies make the baby cuckoo noises, and if you smile at him, was he sleeping back? Did he have eye contact? And did he sit in time? Those ones. How was his journey?
One thing I can say honestly is that he never used to coo. This cooing of the child, which the children do, I realized maybe at around 4 months there was nothing completely. He would only cry when he's in discomfort, but he looked a healthy child with no problem at all.
Okay, so at least we've seen similarities a lot of in the movement, both in your child and Patricia's. So when it comes to walking, how is his muscle toning and stuff like that during? Because from birth to 18, how has he changing according to his phases?
Oh, for Donnie.
Hello.
For Donnie, I realized that when now he could be able to maybe step, like you would hear the strength in his limbs. He had what do we call this? Abduction. Because of the way, you see, when we were now making him now to sit, you would sit most of the times. So you find there is some opening between the two thighs. And they rarely come to the normal, the way they stand on the two legs well. So that abduction is there when he could now even stand on his limbs. Stand when he's held. That is, I mean that.
Okay. Oh, so did you had to use the calipers and those ones to support him, or how has it been for you? Or what?
Not really. The doctor made the slab. The slab. That doctor actually used to help me with a lot of things. We would improvise. We did not have the, what do we call them? The CAFOs, the ones which are bought. No. You could use the plaster of Paris to make one for the back slabs for the legs and even for the hands, because you realize after many twitches, so my son was like this. Most of the times he was like this. The hands were moving inside like this. So with the occupational therapy and the doctor making the slabs for his hands and even for the legs, so it tried to correct. Although he's hemiplegic, the left side is seriously affected. And even today, if you see him walking the way the sister is helping him walk, see him limping. The left side is even shorter, and he steps on the how do I say?
On the toes.
He steps like this.
Okay.
Yeah, on the left side.
He tiptoes.
Yeah, exactly. He tiptoes on the left side, and even his left hand, he would hold like this, and it keeps moving. But the right one has strength. And that is why I have hope, because when it all started, his limbs were all weak. There was nothing. And when you come to think that now this child, will he be a child? Will he ever old? So I still have the hopes that even at 18, he would be able to do something alone, at least, even if it is just picking food and putting in his own mouth.
And
I'm still trusting God for that.
Amen. And that's I like the faith. And for us parents, we should always keep the faith and focus and ensure that at least we do what we can. You mentioned Carl has been in school, right? So has there been a difference? Is it a boarding school?
Yeah.
School? You mentioned he went to school. Yes. So
yes, teacher. I think would encourage us to have the school. Let's now plan them to move now in college. I want to say I don't want to have a body.
The line is not clear, Pamela. Hello. Pamela, your line is not clear. Okay, today we're having a lot of technicals, which is on the way the conversation is. The conversation is quite something, but yeah, we are having an issue with technical issues. We've lost Pamela there. She was trying to tell us about the education of her cerebral palsy child who's now 18, and she still has hope that he will get somewhere. And I like that. I really, really love that, because if you look across board, the children who actually make it the most are the ones whose parents don't give up on them, and that they keep the fire burning, and they make sure they take them to school and give them everything any other child would be having. And I would like to pass my sincere gratitude to our panelists today, that is Patricia and Pamela. And looking at time, it's about time for us to sign off. I wish I had them to give us at least a parting shot, but I can see at least Patricia is reconnecting, then we can talk to her. But for you at home, remember, cerebral palsy is something that you can manage. And this month, we are going to be focusing on a lot of CP stories, considering the 6th is World CP Day, and we shall be having our own celebrations in different places where you can join, just find it and plug in and share, so that we raise awareness and we ensure that people are educated and we have maximum support for the children with cerebral palsy. Remember, it's not contagious, but your attitude will be something that will make a difference. We need positive attitudes and support. When you see a parent and a caregiver with a special child, offer that support. Maybe just decide, I'm going to take care of the child for 1 hour, you go take a rest, go and see, because it's not an easy job. Like you've had most of the things they cannot do on their own, and they need support. Patricia, I can see your back. Kindly give us your parting shot. We were just saying thank you, and that time is not on our side. What would be your message to the general public and to fellow parents of special needs children?
Okay, my parting shot is, let's accept cerebral palsy. It's a condition that is there to stay. And as you have said, it's not contagious. It's my plea to each and every parent to kindly, let's make awareness. It's funny that most people don't know about cerebral palsy and they believe it's witchcraft. Let's try and sensitize the community around us about cerebral palsy. That's what I can say. It's not a curse.
All right, thank you very much. If anyone has a question, you can drop it in the chat for those of us who are live here with us. And like she said, yes, it's not a curse. And remember, cerebral palsy is not something that you can wish it or you do something for it to happen to you. No, it has no one to blame. It just happens to anyone. So long as you're a mother, so long as you're a sister, remember, and you have the ability to give birth, it can happen to anyone. The other thing I would love to urge our doctors to at least be more careful, because we have had so many stories about parents saying, I blame it on the doctor. He did this, he did that, we were not supposed to do, and that's how I ended up here. So let us see that. Let's raise awareness. Let people understand that it is not a curse. It is not something that a parent did to deserve, but anyone's child can actually contract cerebral palsy. And awareness is key. Acceptance is the best medicine. So accept, embrace, and focus on their abilities, man. Don't focus on the label and the diagnosis, but the person itself. And ensure that you support so that parents are able to raise their children with the best of their abilities. I have been your host, Sylvia Moramochabo, here on Neuro Digest, our special needs hangout. I think episode 19 or 20, but we will keep talking about this even in the weeks to come. We will be having our show in alternate Saturdays starting this month. And next we shall be talking to Maria Njeri. She is a CP, cerebral palsy advocate, and she has cerebral palsy herself. She is a graduate, so it is always possible. So, Patricia, your dreams are very valid. Thank you, Maika, for always being our sign language interpreter, and we appreciate you. And for all our viewers for tuning in every Saturday, same time, same place. We see you next week, but one on the 17th, as we discuss breaking the glass barriers despite our diagnosis. Thank you very much, and we see you next.